Shut up and sit down.
Dude, for every time you clap your hands from now on, we pull a pew. That's it.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I wasn't clapping. I was doing like this.
God, whatever. I don't want to hear excuses. all right, palm
All right.
trees. Let's get us started. I love your tank top, by the way. That rocks.
Oh, thank you. If you saw my shorts, you'd probably say
Okay.
I look like Dennis, but
I love it. You don't have socks up to your knees, do you?
no, I don't.
And I'm the guy with Kyle Allen. For those that know Dennis.
Oh, yeah, right. God love Dennis. Dennis, we love you. We know you're looking down on us. Bring us some views, my friend. All right, Evan.
He definitely liked that joke. He appreciated it.
Yeah,
all right, well, let's talk some football, boys. Everybody welcome into the Pigskin Pricks. And to say the least, we have an exciting, enchanting, enlightening episode for this one. Now, before we jump into football talk, I want to know. It looks like you guys are both like on vacation or something, in different settings. I don't know what's going on, but
I was just gonna say I feel like weird. Like this isn't. I just don't feel my
It's
own.
not-
I'm
it's not
in my
natural.
normal spot.
Yeah.
I am for everybody out there.
are you rattled?
I wouldn't call it rattled. Just unsettled. Maybe
Unsettled.
uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Just feel odd. It's like. Have you ever been home when you're supposed to be at work? Now everybody's going to say yes because everybody's doing that now. But
Of course.
back when you used to go to work and like you'd have this weird day where you went at work and you like just felt like the whole day felt weird. You're like,
Yeah.
things don't feel right. Like something's
Okay.
off here. That's more what it's like. But I'm actually at work because I travel for work, and finally I'm having to travel again for work. And I'm in the good old city of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So I'm a lot closer to Evan than I was normally. But not
Okay.
quite there.
I was going to say, not
So
quite.
Gettysburg's actually one of my favorite towns because it's really kind of cool, old-fashioned. There's battlefields nearby, and the downtown square. I'm like a block away from a downtown. It's a square, like the shape of it's a square. The center of the town, but it's got a circle, the traffic circle in a square. It's really fucked up.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm like a block or so away from that, and I had talked about doing maybe the show from the bar down there, but I'm pretty sure. I saw it was open last night when I got into town and drove home from work. I drove right by the circle, and the place was open. I'm pretty sure they're closed on Tuesday nights, the place I wanted to go.
Interesting.
I'm like, I'm just going to do it from the place I'm in. And it's kind of a neat. I'm in an Airbnb, like upstairs in this older building, big ass, if you can tell, big ass, like high ceilings, wood floors, older construction.
Okay.
Nice.
Shitty ass, big ass portable air conditioner because, it's an older building with no real air conditioning. Outside of windows and that. But that's where I'm at. Joe? Now
Okay, so normally I'm down in my basement.
as I am.
Yes, but tonight I'm actually out on my deck because my aunt came to visit, and she has taken over the basement, which is cool. I love having her here. And so I'm up here, which
Joe,
actually...
I got to interrupt you right
Okay.
away. I should have said this earlier when you gave me some of this background. Why couldn't you just have it with her? She was welcome to join the show.
No, I absolutely. But she's relaxing. She's been over at the hospital and out and about all day.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
That makes sense.
but for sure. So, but it's beautiful outside. Actually, it's about 78 degrees. I'm in the shade. Sun's down. So yeah. So I'm out on my deck tonight. I'm not unsettled. I actually really like it out here. So,
Here's a
I'm
bad part.
relaxed too.
It's about 78 degrees here too, inside with air conditioners running.
That's bad. Yeah, and there's a nice breeze out here too. So
Open a window, John.
right, no shit,
it's
right?
warmer outside, but yeah, I should show you these windows. They even got like reflective shit in the windows, and they had the drapes closed and the blinds.
Are you
closed.
sure it's not a meth house?
It is.
What do they?
I'm
They
the
got
one
shit-
that
they got
makes-
shit
I'm the
over
one
the
making
windows?
No, it's to keep the fucking heat out because it's upper floor and it's getting all kinds of sun.
Nice.
And like I said, a couple window air conditioners, and it's actually a really big space. Like it's a
Yeah.
2-bedroom, like half a fucking building. Like
you could have rented a Residence Inn that's 2 rooms and
don't have
it
one.
has air conditioning.
They don't have one in this town. I love Airbnbs, and
Oh.
this location was good, and the
Mm.
price was. Let me just say, the price was right. I mean,
Out-
I thought maybe
outstanding.
my son would be coming with me, so it's a 2-bedroom, and he ended up because of my work travel arrangements couldn't make it with me.
Right.
Because he works with me. For those that don't know, but it's an awesome place. So I'll deal with it. But just to give you insight, I had all the air conditioners cranking since I got here last night, and they had them down when I checked in, and I turned them all up. By morning, when I got out of bed, and luckily they have ceiling fans, and I looked at the thermostat, it was 73 degrees. Overnight, to get it down to temperature, it was 73 degrees in the morning. And Pennsylvania is not that hot. Like, it's kind of far north, right? So
We're in a heat wave, though.
it is warm. It was warm. I mean, it was 90s or something outside, so it's definitely warm. But I cracked open the windows to get a little natural lighting because that light sucks, but I can't turn it off. Because
Dude, we've talked far too long about how hot you are.
I know. I know.
Really. Did you ask what was on the beer menu? Or
I
No.
believe I did.
No,
I
I cut you off.
I
about
was
you had a
segueing
nice
into
weather
beers.
out there, right?
I was like, you guys look like you're on vacation, and since you're on vacation, that means wonderful beers, right? That means
I think so.
Beers.
Matter of fact,
so you're saying we don't drink good beer when we're not on vacation?
Well,
Anyway,
I'm
go
thinking
ahead.
special beers because you're on vacation.
I'll tell you what. I'm drinking a real special beer tonight. Actually, I had to put it in a koozie. Go Chiefs! Because it is hot and the beer will get warm. And unlike those young punks who like warm beer, I don't. So got to keep it cold. So I'm going to take it out and then put it in real quick, guys. We're going to go back to
That's what
Portland,
she
Oregon.
said.
Yeah, right. We're going to go back to Deschutes, and this is their Twilight Summer Ale. And what's interesting about this, and kind of caught me off guard, is when I initially took a drink, my first drink, it totally reminds me of a weak IPA. So it's got that hoppy that hits you right away, and then that bitter finish, which surprised me for a summer ale. I'm like, whoa, because if you drink Sam Adams Summer Ale, it's really nothing like that. So yeah, but actually, and as you guys know, I'm not a huge IPA fan, but it's pretty good. I will say, I pretty much like everything Deschutes puts out. I mean, I just like their beers. Been drinking them a long time. So I'll give this a 6.9.
6.9. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Respect that.
Evan, 6.9's terrible, dude. It sounded better than the rating you gave it.
A
I think you're going to
6.9 is always a respectable rating, solely
Well,
for the
look.
fact that it's a 6.9.
It's a respectable
6.9.
rating for me, considering it tastes like an IPA.
But it's got something in
69.
the middle, right? It's got something. No, I got it, but it had something in the middle, a little dot. What is that? Like a turd?
A turd.
The dot?
Yeah,
let's
69, right? What's that little dot on the ground right there?
Let's see it. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Can you see it?
I like that. I like the label even.
No, the labeling's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Whole point.
So what Kool-Aid are you drinking, Sally?
So this is cool. So because it's so hot, I added ice.
Oh.
But that's because it's not a fucking beer.
Woo!
Oh. What is it?
It's got to be
So-
ginger ale.
So I've already told Joe the story a little bit. We talked earlier. So I'm in Gettysburg, and I went to the grocery store because I have an Airbnb with a kitchen, right?
Oh, it's not diet.
It's bold ginger ale.
It's bold. So
It's bold.
This is important, this little fact. And I actually mentioned something similar to this on the show. But so I'm at the grocery store getting snacks and some food, right? And I'm cruising down the drink aisle, and I see ginger ale, 4 for $5. And I'm like, I don't need 4 fucking ginger ales, but I can take them home because I drove to Gettysburg, so I can drive them home, right? Not that I couldn't just throw them in the trash too, but why buy 4? But I'm like, but if I buy ginger ale, I need to go get me whiskey. Fuck beer, I'm going to get whiskey this week because I can take that home too. So
Okay.
So then I leave the grocery store. I guess this is a funny part. We're going to talk way too long about everything but football, but I like telling stories. So about a block away is a liquor store, which I've never, believe it or not, as many times as I've been to Gettysburg, I've never went to a liquor store. I usually just go to the restaurant, eat and drink there. Don't usually go buy my own, except for at the pizza place because you can buy it and to go, and they have a really good selection at the pizza place. But anyway,
Interesting.
so I go to the liquor store. Motherfuckers only have beer, like only beer,
Wow.
not a goddamn anything else in the whole place.
So it's really a beer store.
It was a beer store,
that's
and
not a
it
liquor
didn't say High Street like beer store or something. That was the name of it. I guess that was obvious, but I'm like, oh, they got other stuff in there. It's a liquor store. No, they don't. Not only that, but forgive me, those from Pennsylvania that might watch the show, probably nobody. their beer is so goddamn expensive. And I was talking to the customer of mine that I know very well. He's like, yeah, our syntax is terrible. It's like 1.5 times the price I'd pay in Tennessee, which isn't super cheap. It's above average in my opinion, but not bad. But this is like super expensive. And the shitty part was it had all kinds of cool flavors. And I'm like, I'm just going to be a cheap ass because I really wanted whiskey.
You're always a cheap ass.
They're charging way too much for this beer that I can get somewhere else. But they had a lot of cool flavors. So anyway, so then I had texted the customer. This is what kind of good relationship I have with my customer. I'm like, hey, where do I buy whiskey? Like a bottle, So he got the hint. Like, I'm not trying to find a restaurant. And he responds a bit too late for yesterday evening and gives me the place, which is not too far away, but I didn't want to hunt around for it. So I went there after work today and picked up some whiskey. So I'm looking for something I haven't had before because that's what I do because I have a nice selection at home. And I'm like, let's find something I haven't had. And also, as Joe commented, I'm a cheap ass. So what's on sale? 2 requirements. Right. What's on sale or good value like my picks. And what haven't I had before? So I didn't know anything about this guy here. So old over Holt, bonded. So, and it's a straight rye. So a couple things I can tell you when I saw it was, A, the price was good. It was a little over $20 for 750 milliliters, which is not a bad price. That's on the low side, right? Especially for apparently a state that charges a lot. It is bonded. So bonded, it has an interesting thing I'll tell you about because I kind of know in general, but I had to read it. So it's in accordance with the U.S. government standard, bonded is a product of one distillery and one distiller in a single season, barreled for at least 4 years and bottled at exactly 100 proof. So back to the other value thing. Hey, I'm getting 100 proof for $20 because mostly it's in the 80s, maybe low 90s, right? So I'm getting a little more alcohol for my money.
Okay.
For $20. And then it's rye. So I normally like bourbons, but I also found that I definitely like ryes. I'll drink regular non-bourbon whiskeys as well. Some of them are great, but ryes are good. It's okay. So the whole long story of this is bold is awesome. For those that don't want to spend money on real...
That's a bold drink choice.
Right. Real ginger beer. If somebody's going to call me a pussy because some guys like, I just drink it straight or I just drink it with ice. Listen, I like it with fucking ginger ale or squirt. Kiss my ass.
Could you rate the shit? Fuck! Are you shitting me?
The other piece is, for those that don't understand bold, my young 20-something son he didn't drink ginger ale with his whiskey. He's fallen in love with the bold. He's like, that shit is great. So if you haven't had it, try it. You're going to go like, that's good. It takes a mediocre whiskey like this, so I'm helping you out with the rating, and makes it pretty fucking good. Okay, so it's okay. I drank it straight just to try it first. It's got a little bit of a interesting aftertaste. You could smell it was a little more, I would call it cheaper. but it's not bad. So it's worth $20 any day of the week. It's probably better than the only other whiskey I've reviewed, which is a Crown Royal Bourbon Mash. That's not a bourbon, if you remember that one. With a Diet Ginger Ale, which also affected the flavor.
Yes.
I don't even remember what I rated that son of a bitch.
Right.
This is probably a good 7.5 for whiskey, not for beer. Don't get it.
Okay. You made it
probably
sound like it was going to get a lot lower of a rating.
I know. And he gave me shit about mine, and then here he goes, sad sack Sally, and then he gives it a 7.5.
Let me help you out.
Give me
Let me
a
help you out.
fucking break.
Couple interesting things you need to know.
No, you've given us 7 already. How many fucking interesting things do we need?
No, I gave it a 7.5. I usually don't drink really shitty whiskey. That's first off.
You do today.
Number 2, for the price, the fact that I said it's rye, it's 100 proof bonded. It's not some blend of a bunch of interesting shit. It's a pretty good. That means it's pretty good, but it's cheaper. I bought another bottle I didn't open because I wanted to take it home that I can guarantee is going to be a better bottle than this one. So, and I spent.
We hope so.
Upper $20 on that one, and because it was on sale.
Whoa, upper 20s.
Tried something Alabama whiskey.
Did your wallet start on fire when you pulled that money out of there?
Just mine.
Did you see a flame? Because
it cried.
That's a little bit out of price range. Yeah, that shit hurts, man. That burns the fingers.
Hey,
all right, hold on.
That one wasn't even bonded, and it's not 100 proof. It was like 90 or.
Real quick before we jump into football, I wanted to bring one thing up to you guys. You assholes, on Sunday, I texted you and said, "Hey, help me out with some bets. I want to put some bets in."
And I gave you some good
Sunday.
teams.
You did. However,
We both
However,
helped you.
look at this, guys. Here's a ticket right here. It's a 4-team parlay NBA. Let me read it to you because it's a bit small. Who told me to take the OKC Thunder? Okay, they covered.
I know they did.
Who told me to take the Toronto Raptors over Memphis?
You did. You liked them.
That would have been me. They covered. Who told me to take Houston Rockets over the Sac Kings?
That wasn't me.
That would have been you, LeCount. That's correct. That covered. Who told me?
I figured it didn't. I was like, I know I'm going to be like
No,
a
that
bad.
one did.
bad
Who told me to take the 76ers over the Portland Trailblazers?
Not me. I told you Trailblazers.
We both told you Trailblazers.
Right. And I had a -3.5, and they won by 3. They cost me $268 fucking for a half a fucking point. There it is, boys.
I told
Thank you very much, you ass monkey.
Hey, so
I told you
I
they'd
had to
win
throw
the
that
game.
in.
Can we roll back time?
I told you
When we first
they'd
looked
win
at that game, when they first looked at that game, I said, Joe, I like the 76ers. But then we found
Yeah, I
some
know.
motherfucker had an injury and was out. And so we're
I
like,
told
that's
you
why
they
they're
Simmons.
picking him. Right, that's why they're picking
Well,
him. 'Cause
look.
he's got an injury. But
I told you
in
they'd win the
general, their
game. I
records
told you
were
they'd win the
dramatically
game.
different.
I didn't tell you they were going to cover the spread. I told you they'd win the
You
game.
know I bet the spread.
Some people bet just
No, but
the
we didn't know how many
teams.
points you were getting. How many points did they give you for the parlay? Any extras? Because that's was part of our key. It's like we're expecting you're going to get a couple extra
No.
points because of the parlay.
I didn't buy points. You don't get points on a parlay unless you buy them. That's football. That's any sport.
That was my
You
expectation.
I
expecting
thought it
you
was
to
just
get
a
some
straight up
points.
pick.
No,
I thought you were doing
can't-
pick'em.
You can't do.
No, I know it was
straight up
points.
pick'ems.
I know
You
it was
have to-
points.
you have
But when
to
you
either-
and
you
I
have to-
talked,
No, you have to do money line or you have to do spread.
dude, when you and I
Or-
talked, I was mentioning how many points they were going to give you because of a parlay, and you never said you weren't getting any. That might have skewed my recommendations, and you did not give me all the information necessary to help.
I thought I gave you the spread.
No, I knew the
no
spread, but you
spreads.
didn't tell me that you weren't getting any extra points because I said depending on how many points they give you for a parlay, and you didn't go no, they're not giving me any extra points because normally when you do that parlay with multiple teams, you're getting points.
Well, I'll buy points when I bet football
should've.
if I do like an 8-team or something.
Yeah, you should have bought.
But generally
a point 'cause
not
you'd
on a
have won.
4-team. But I missed it by a half a point. So
Right, if
just
you'd
so
have
you
bought a
know,
point, how much would a 1 point cost you?
I don't know.
You'd
It
have
would
made
have.
money.
It brings the odds down. I mean, obviously, that's
Obviously.
what it does when you buy points. But it was close. I missed it by a half point.
Hey, how'd those Twins do for you?
Yeah,
Well,
how about
here's the deal.
Twins?
So I had a 5-team parlay, 2 hockey teams and 3 baseball teams, and only 2 out of 5 covered. And they
Hey,
were
you're
two.
supposed
They
to
were
get
two.
three.
They
You'd
were
have went
two.
with that 3-teamer, you'd have probably won. Just dropped the 2 that didn't. No, I guess the 3 didn't. cover.
No, because the one team that you both were adamant about, the
Who?
Twins, didn't cover.
I didn't say anything about the Twins.
You said
Liar.
you liked the Twins.
Liar. He did.
No,
You said
no,
you like-
they
go
weren't.
back-
They weren't my pick.
Go
They
back
weren't
and
my
look at
pick.
the text string. You're like,
I have
I like
proof.
all those teams.
Right. Do we need to post the picture in our when we
might.
record
I
this
think we're
video?
gonna
We're
need
going to put it.
to. I think we're
Yeah,
gonna
I
need
have
to.
proof.
Yeah, we were all on the Twins because the
Now-
Royals suck.
No, because the Royals beat them twice already, and the Twins had been hot. So we're like, the Twins are going to pick one.
Yeah,
game.
they're not going to sweep them. Yeah, well, they
And,
fucking
and as I
swept them.
texted yesterday, the Twins won right after they got done with the
Yep.
Royals losing.
Yeah, I
2
know.
straight.
I know.
So,
That happens.
uh,
All right, let's get on to football because we've wasted how much time?
Oh, plenty of
John's ginger ale and whiskey exports down in Gettysburg Battlefield, USA.
it. Yeah, let's get into some football. So,
All
I
right.
mean, I feel like it's been a little while. A lot's happened since we. Well, it hasn't been that long, but a lot has happened since we
Long
last
enough.
chatted football. Long enough.
Yeah, that's right.
So we have a couple areas we want to chat. I want to save the opt-outs for a little later, but I want to start with what I think is the biggest move since the last time we talked football, and that is Seattle giving away their entire what is it? They're
Jesus.
basically selling the farm
Yeah,
for Jamal Adams.
yeah.
Now I'm gonna say I don't think Jamal Adams is worth what they gave up for him. He's a hell of a player, but 2 first-round picks on top. It seems like a lot for a guy who could be classified without an extension. By the way, they didn't give him an extension. I just don't like the trade on Seattle's end. I think they gave up too much. I don't think he's the piece that makes them win the NFC West per se. I don't think he puts them at I mean, they're a contender, but does he make them that much better? they already had an all right defense. I don't know. I personally wouldn't have made the move, and I'd be upset as a Seattle fan. So
Well, I'll tell you what. John. I'm gonna take this real quick, if you don't mind.
Take it. Run with it.
I disagree with you, man. Look, Jamal Adams he's the real deal, right? I'm going to use the Raiders as an example, right?
Okay.
The linebacker they sent to the Bears.
Khalil Mack.
There you go.
He's not as good as he doesn't make as big of a difference as Khalil Mack.
He absolutely does. If he's on the right team. So look, the Raiders got a haul for him. We don't know that those picks that the Raiders made are going to be a Khalil Mack. Chances are they're not. The chances of finding a diamond in the rough like that are slim. It's the same at safety with Jamal Adams. They're taking such a risk by letting him go because, yeah, you're right. They got a ton of picks, but maybe none of those.
He was walking though. He was definitely leaving the Jets. It's a good trade for the Jets.
He wanted to stay, but he absolutely they didn't want to pay him the money. And but here's what's that?
He didn't want to stay.
He didn't want to stay.
He would have stayed had they paid him the money.
With the
Oh,
Jets?
right. Who wouldn't? If you give me the money I want,
That's exactly
stay
right.
Almost anywhere, especially if it's better than anywhere else. But back to what Evan said. Come on, nobody wants to play for the fucking Jets.
Well,
I mean, in reality, they suck.
They screwed up their last coaching hire
Guys,
with Adam Gase.
You guys are talking like the players. All they care about is winning a championship. No. And that's bullshit. These guys want to get paid. They go to shitty teams. How many times has the guy left a good team because of money? It happens all the freaking time. Why would you leave the New England Patriots when they're winning 6 freaking rings to go so you can make more money? If really what you cared about was championships, these guys want to get paid. Now if Jamal Adams can get paid and go to a better team, then yeah, why wouldn't you do that? But this guy cares about money. Now, the dangerous thing about this trade is now they're in talks with Logan Ryan to bring him to Seattle. And you add him to that secondary, now I will say, watch the hell out. Because now you're getting back into the whole Legion of Boom type shit. All right, when you've got those players, Logan Ryan is that good. I see your face there. He can still play.
No, what I was
I like
say,
Logan Ryan.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to say – you only kind of supported the statement we were making, and I agree with you. He wanted the money. And if I had a choice of playing for the Jets or Seattle for anywhere close to the same money, I'm going to the fucking Seattle, which is my point. He didn't want to play for the Jets. Yeah,
he didn't even get an extension.
But he made it very clear, and he wasn't really interested.
But Seattle didn't pay him the money, John. He didn't go. He hasn't gotten the money. They didn't pay him anymore. He's still on the current contract he had with the Jets. The Jets wanted to pay him, and he, they didn't want to give him.
I think he wanted out.
Once you're not going to get the money, once you're not going to get the money, then the money's similar, and I can go to a better team. I'm going to the better team, even if I don't get paid what I want. And I still would agree with that.
You got to think about it. Teams are going to be hesitant right now to give any sort of, unless you're Patrick Mahomes or Chris Jones, to give or Tom Brady to give massive extensions because of all the uncertainty that's going on with whether it's COVID or the cap is supposed to be going down. There's a lot of uncertainty about giving out these long-term deals right now, especially for a safety. And safeties, I wouldn't say are a dime a dozen, but there are a lot of quality players available at safety.
Not to his level. He's all pro. That guy, that's different. You're right. There's a lot of quality guys, but that guy is an all pro, and he's young. So you try to find that those are a bitch to find. And the Jets won't find one. I'm just telling you, not even with a first-round pick unless they use it in the top 5.
The Jets aren't going anywhere anyways.
Right. And they probably don't care. Right.
No.
They're gonna continue to rebuild.
No, they're going to build
the right mix.
You can't necessarily build a team around a safety, I don't think, personally.
That's not true. Seattle did it. They won the Super Bowl with
a combination of
of course. It's got to be a combination of players.
Right.
But they won it with I was there. They won it with defense. Yes, Russell Wilson played well, but he didn't win the Super Bowl.
Russell Wilson. Who the fuck is a running back? Why can't I ever remember?
Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch.
Come on, man. I mean, they didn't build it. They didn't build it around one guy. They had a great defense, and lots of teams have done that to win the Super Bowl. But they had a supporting cast, which is Evan's point. It wasn't.
And the thing is, like, how often do you see a team with paying a $15-20 million a year to one defensive player?
Shit, man. Because I'll say this: Baltimore won it in 2000 with defense, but they had a supporting cast. His name was Trent Dilfer, but they had bullshit. He was good enough to win the fucking Super Bowl.
They had some kind of
it was a defense.
They had okay receivers, but their defense was it. You're right.
I'm
not one player. He said safety, Joe. He said safety.
Right, and I said the Legion of Boom. I'm talking about building on the defensive side of the ball.
Yes.
He made it sound like you got to have it. You build around a quarterback.
No.
What were you saying? But what were you saying then? Because I misunderstood that.
My point, I think, is that it's very difficult to have a $15-20 million per year player on the defensive end and then put up a completely stellar defense around that player. Like, do you have enough money and cap space to put up a formidable offense when you're paying one guy on the defensive side of the ball $15-20 million a year? Because I don't know.
The Rams did it with Aaron Donald.
Okay. Well, how much were they paying?
How much is
they
Chris
went
Jones
to the
game?
Well, how many players can you put up around Chris Jones now? What's the?
You got Tyrann Mathieu. You got Tyrann already. You got some other fucking dudes. Joe just totally went by
20 million. So, we'll see. I disagree. I love our offense, but you win with defense.
He didn't
and if you don't have defensive sides of the – what's that?
Joe was totally lagged out for a minute.
Oh.
No, his audio is still good.
No, but you didn't catch it. He was paused for a while. Dude, trust me. Rewind.
Oh, I don't.
Anyway, I was asking how much Chris Jones made, and you totally lagged out. But anyway, keep going, Joe.
Oh, 20 million.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
So there's plenty of teams that are paying defensive players
but how many
building the defense around them. And they're going to the Super Bowl. I mean, these teams are, the Chiefs, they lost to your New England Patriots because of their defense. Because of their defense. We had Patrick Mahomes. We had a stellar offense, and we lost to Tom Brady because of our defense. You guys beat us because of your defense.
But how often does Bill Belichick pay $15 million a year for a singular defensive player?
Well, first of all, Bill Belichick
wouldn't be able to. He wouldn't be able to build up the whole defense.
He's cheaper than I am with whiskey or beer.
He doesn't ever do that. Ever.
Well, that's my point.
Bill Belichick. Yeah, but it's Bill Belichick. No other coach has been able to do that. None. He's a guy that can take a fucking rookie out of Easy Bake Oven U Division II and turn him into a fucking all-pro because he's a defensive coach and he's the best one there ever was. He's special. No other team has been able to do that. No one. You just don't do it without that stud. Okay. He turns guys, and you've been watching him do it for years. He takes these nobodies out of the 3rd to 6th round that no one's even heard of, and in 2 years you're like, where the fuck did this guy come from? Yeah. Now he's in the fucking Pro Bowl. Who the fuck was Teddy Bruschi? Right? Who the fuck was that guy? Right. And guess what? Yeah, he was somebody. So, that's Bill Belichick. But typically that doesn't happen. So you've got to pay the guy. There's that one guy that you build a defense around. Now the Chiefs now have Chris Jones, but they also have Tyrann Mathieu. Right? And that guy,
somebody else on the line. They got a couple other players that are pretty good.
Right. But I mean, those are really their core pieces that they've built that defense around. And Spagnuolo did that. Right? He's a good defensive coach. He took a lot of hits when he came in here. Oh, he was the wrong hire. He's the wrong guy. He won't know what to do. Well, you know what? He won us a fucking Super Bowl. And people can say, well, it was Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, probably 80% of it was. But without those defensive plays, we don't win the Super Bowl. So it is. You got to have them.
Okay, fair enough.
You got to have the point.
I respect I still don't think it's a. I think Seattle gave up too much. I'm not saying Jamal Adams is not a good probably top 3 safety in the league, but I think they gave up too much.
Here's my comment on that. Whether or not you think they gave up too much, I think that Seattle does a pretty good job with their personnel. And if I were to trust a team in making a pick like that and getting good value out of it, I think they're a team that would do it.
That's
So
cool.
I'm not against that choice. And I think Joe, kind of makes a good point of, what the value is of somebody versus the potential of something you don't know.
Versus the unknown.
Is it worth it? Yeah. Depending on your timeline. Well, and depending on your timeline, do you want to win right now, or are you trying to invest in the future and you're looking for that?
I think if he
game.
walks though, then it's definitely was not worth it. If he walks,
Oh,
if they don't resign him.
look, they're going to pay him
yeah.
money. They're going to pay him the money. I mean, you don't let all that real estate go and not pay him
unless
that
he
money.
sucks. Unless he just turns out to be
now I will say, since we're on Seattle, I will say that I read something in regards to the Chiefs are in trouble. Chiefs signed Patrick Mahomes, and now because of COVID, the salary cap is not going to increase, and they relied on that. And so what they're talking about is the Chiefs are going to lose 70% of their team after this year. And so they restructured Alex Okafor's contract, and now they have $15 million in cap space, and they are talking about signing Jadeveon Clowney to a 1-year contract because they know after this year the team's going to be broke apart. So they're talking about bringing him in to give us even a bigger push towards that championship for this year.
Sounds like a good plan.
That's an interesting move.
Let's hope we
It's
play.
an interesting.
I mean, he's still out on the market, which is kind of.
That's right, John. That's a big piece. We don't know that we're going to play. However, they're talking like we are, and I heard on the radio today, as the Big Ten and the Pac-12 have now pulled out of play, the NFL's they're foaming at the mouth because now they're saying, hey, we can now have teams play on Saturday. So now you're going to be able to view more games. And for a fantasy guy, that's gold because now you get to watch a bunch of games.
I love when the whole weekend's full of NFL football.
Yeah. And so
Thursday, Saturday,
isn't the
Sunday,
schedule, though,
Sunday.
already, set?
Yeah, but they could play. They could play with
change it.
that. They could play. You're
They'll
right,
move it
I'm sure
around?
it is. But, towards the end of the season, they have those flex games anyway.
Well,
so
they do.
They can just – why wouldn't they? Who's going to care? Oh, wait, no, don't. Please don't pull the game off of Sunday when I wouldn't be able to watch it and move it to Saturday so I can see it. That would be terrible.
Right. Who wants you to do that? So back to the Pac-12 and Big Ten. The Big 12 and the SEC are leaning towards playing. So there's a big shift right now, and Nebraska, of course, I live here, so Scott Frost and the Cornhuskers are saying, whoa, we want to play. We're in the Big Ten. Will you let us join the Big 12 this year? Let us out of our contract just for the year because, right, John? So I'm like, holy shit, did they just ask that? But there's no way the Big Ten is going to do that because there's TV rights. There's that whole thing. But Iowa wants out too because the Hawkeyes want to play. So there's a lot of dissension going on. But
yes, you should have left the Big 12.
You lose. I know. You lose the Big 10. You lose the Pac-12. There's 2 of your Power 5s, right? You got the SEC. 5. You got the Big 12.
Not a Power 5, but the MAC is gone already.
No, right. Yeah, there's a bunch of the smaller ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And my point there is what I'm worried about, even, so great that Big 12 wants to play, SEC wants to play, but you lose those other conferences, which are important games. I mean, what is the value of a national championship if,
right.
2/3 or a half or a significant portion of the competitive teams didn't even play? It's
better than?
Hey, we won the Super Bowl
without
during
him?
the fucking scrubs season.
I mean, it's better to play without him or to just
I'm a
play
football
at all.
fan. I'm a football fan.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch football. But I will be honest, because I'm working in this shit too. I totally respect people not wanting to play because of COVID.
But it's not the
individual
students,
decision.
though. Right, it's not the students who made this decision. It was the president.
But sometimes younger people are making the wrong decision for their
John,
health.
but what I was telling Evan before, a lot of these young kids, this is their career. If they can't be on the field and show their talent, they don't make the NFL, and their career is over.
Sure they do, because everything's on hold. You got next year.
But
That's
so they're going to give them another year.
No, well, they may have another year of eligibility, but classes are still going on. So
no.
But
That's what I mean. It's not like you're at risk of getting hurt playing football this season. That's my
Right,
point.
John,
You can play
and
then.
I understand that. And if you're Trevor Lawrence, that's okay. But if you're one of those
yeah.
guys that's just on the bubble, you don't know if you're going to make it, and you have to be on the field to make your case.
Be there next year.
That's who it's going to, and that's 90% of college students.
Yeah.
I mean, you
right,
got
but
those rare guys
such a
that
small
are
percentage ever
going in the
make
first
it.
round.
Yeah, such a small
I know,
percentage
John,
of
but
those
that
make
small percentage, they
They
still
fight to
want to
be in
make
that
it.
small percentage.
That's exactly right.
That's great.
That's
Go
right.
play, get COVID, and die, and you're not going to fucking be on an
Well,
I mean,
you know,
the
come on.
to be fair, the death rate for my age group is
No, I know.
0.01%. So if they want
Right.
to play, let them play.
No,
you know?
I hear you, Evan. And
Right.
These are
That's
prime
absolutely
athletes.
let's go
athletes
on to the next
in
step.
shape.
But
Yeah.
then they should do it right, so they're not around people
I
that
agree.
could get sick,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
Because that is a risk. That's my biggest complaint. It's not, dude. I live on a mountain in the middle of Tennessee, and I haven't traveled until real recently, and I actually felt it was almost poor judgment on the case of my customer that asked me, especially going to Boulder, Colorado, to do work. And the work could have waited what they wanted done, but they decided they needed me to come out there. You know, so I'm getting on a plane and I got to expose myself to all those things. And again, I'm not terribly worried about it, but just to make it a point, it's like, was this really necessary right now? Like, it can't wait till things are better, because not that I'm necessarily worried I'm going to get sick, but I could give somebody else it. I could take it to my family. I could take it to somebody else I'm traveling around, right? Is that really necessary?
You look at like the
but-
NBA bubble.
but to them-
no
but to
case.
them-
And I
it is
like
worth
that.
it.
Like I said, if it's handled correctly. But let's go back to that. If you're an athlete in college, you got to go to class. So are you going to go into class? Are you doing it remotely? How are you bubbling? Right? How are you doing all those things? Give me some details around that. And I think if you had those kind of details and it was well structured, I don't think these other conferences would have backed out. But there's no structure. It's good luck, school. Figure this shit out on your own. Right? And you have no idea about how this other school in your same conference is handling it. And if when you get on the field with those guys, if your guys are safe. Right?
Okay.
In the professional leagues, everybody in part of those bubbles know what they're getting into. Right?
So-
We don't even
so
know
does-
about the NFL. That's why guys are opting out.
So do these athletes, John. These college athletes,
No,
they're
I
adult. They're adults, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Listen, if you're high risk, if you've got asthma, or you know that if you get it, the chances of you dying are high, then opt the fuck out.
Right.
But if you're a guy where you like, I got to get on the field, this is what I want to do, you're old enough to make that decision.
I'm
You're
not
an
arguing you're not old enough. I'm not arguing.
Right. It's like, look, they have that right to make that decision. If you don't want to fly to Boulder, Colorado,
I
then
could've said no.
call your client and say, I don't want to do that. Or call your boss and say,
Right.
hey, I've got customers that they want me to wear a mask. And I say, if it's that much of a risk to
Oh,
walk
I wear my mask all the
facility.
time.
Well, no, I tell them, if it's a risk for me to walk into your company, if I need a mask, then I'm going to leave my shit outside, because my belief is that social distancing is the biggest key. It's not the mask. It's just staying away, right? And if I don't have to get in your face and I can leave the shit outside, we're all better for it,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And so I did find a reason. Now they don't like that because that's more work for them. Now they got to come outside and get the heavy shit. But it's like, look, if you're gonna require this, then I'm gonna come back at you and say, okay, well, if we're gonna do that, then let's go away with it so we can be as safe as possible and even see each other. Right?
Absolutely.
We can do that too. I'm lucky that I have that option.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that option.
Right.
Right? And so I just think once you get to a certain age, I understand what you're talking about. I really do. Listen, I think maybe why don't they do an opt-out clause with the college athletes?
I
Why
think that's a good move.
give them an opportunity. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, and you know what? I think if they play, they probably will. Hey, if you don't feel safe doing this, then walk away. Now, college students, they're so into, I want to go to the NFL. They're probably most of them.
Or I just want to play. Even if they're not thinking about that, they want to play. And again,
Well,
if
you're playing
understand me,
D1,
I want to
you're
watch
thinking
them, but I
NFL.
want them
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah, of course. We all want them safe, John.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
you know, that's
Because you know what would be no fun, which is kind of happening. We'll talk about, like, I know we're going way off subject with this thing, but let's talk about school, less than college, elementary, junior high.
Yes.
These states are spinning classes up, and then within a week or two, they're canceling because people are getting sick. Like, no shit. I mean, come on, you didn't figure that was going to happen? So what fun is, hey, we started the football season, we had a game or two, and, we got to cancel. Okay.
Right. Well, I think as long as they can do it right, I don't see a reason why they can't.
I agree.
I
agree. Even Major League Baseball's had some struggles with that, right?
John, you brought this up. That's an interesting thing because I just watched something on TV. I was watching the local news, and this was a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about Omaha public schools, right? And they were talking about opening up and what it's going to look like, and maybe they won't. And there was this young African-American mom that stood up, and she's got 2 kids, and they're in elementary school.
Yep.
And she lives over in North Omaha, which is a poorer neighborhood.
Yeah.
And she broke down into tears because she has to work and she doesn't have anybody to watch her kids. And I know this killed her to say, but she relied on the food that they got at school.
Yeah.
This is on the local news, John. And so I say, yes, it's important to be safe with our kids, but at what point would it almost be safer to send the kids so that they can have these other things that you have to have for life?
Right. You kind of need food.
Right.
So you're hitting on the key aspect of what I'm talking about, which is all these things you're trying to do. If you half-ass it and don't think through, how are we going to do this and be successful, or we don't just immediately have to back off because people are getting sick? Because now it's not just – what I'm talking about isn't just kids getting sick. Teachers in some districts were getting sick before the kids even showed up and they called it. So it's not just about the kids. It's about everybody involved. And if you're going to say we're going to move forward and this is important from a society aspect, then it's not just that school. It's not just that team.
No. I think it's all schools.
It's the country. It's the state and local government. It's everybody chipping in to put together. And how do we do this responsibly, knowing that there's some things that need to happen to help people? Because again, I got kids that got to go to work, right? And they have kids of their own that need to watch. Now, some of mine are lucky because my youngest, my grandson lives with us. We can watch him, so she doesn't require that. But not all of them are that lucky, right? And so I get it. This is a tough time. But my point is, I think your life and the people around you, whether you know them or not, is more important than sports, not more important than school for school's sake, but more important than, we need to get in there so we can get our money because the president says we have to, right? And so we need our money to pay everybody's paycheck. Let's do this responsibly. We need to help support kids. We need a place for them to stay so their parents can work. We need to keep them safe. We need to keep their caretakers safe. And companies are doing this, dude. It's not just like this is a random thing. Certain companies, healthcare especially, people go, and even my daughter, she's cosmetology. They go to work. They have to get tested every couple of days. People, like their customers, get scanned when they come in. They got to wear masks. You can put in protocols to keep that environment pretty safe. I'm just betting these schools that are having this rash outbreak didn't handle that shit very well, right? And that's what I worry about even these sports leagues. It's like if we're going to do this, let's get it organized. Let's do it right. So when it happens successfully and people are as safe as humanly possible because, you could get sick, but you also can get killed out on the field.
Right.
Or, seriously injured. So there's a risk no matter what. You're taking that risk.
There's no way that all the kids are going to go back to school and nobody's going to get COVID.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you listen, you're going to have cases. It's just going to happen, right?
It's inevitable.
You make it mandatory.
What I don't like is when
to go to class, or do you provide a way to do it?
The thing is,
the
teachers' perspective here, what schools are doing is every student has the ability to opt out. Like you can say, I want strictly online.
That happened here too.
So, there's a lot of students who want to get back to class based on the statistics in terms of kids getting sick. Yeah. I think we should be back in the schools with the opt-out option, and teachers should be able to opt out with no worry about sort of getting
their job
reprimanded and losing their job. But
set them up so they can teach that class that's in school remotely.
But then I think we should have the same thing with, sports. Have that option available to where if you want to not play, you're okay. Like the NFL, for example, all the opt-outs get a stipend, I believe.
Yeah, it's 150,000.
They all get a
350 if
stipend.
you're high risk. 350
Right.
That's correct. 350 if you're high risk. Yes.
So, and
What a
I mean,
segue we did here.
well, hey, yeah, right now about that. But I mean, it's the same. I think it should have
Wasn't
the
even
same
planned,
type of
guys.
perks for college athletes.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
as long as they can do it right, I don't see a reason not to at
That
least
was
try.
my point. That's my
As lo-
point.
Yeah.
And I'd
Don't-
love to
why
see it.
not try? You know, make it
Well,
happen.
let's hope they do. All right, let's get on to NFL opt-outs.
So I
Woo!
want to start with
The
my
Patriots?
team. My team.
Yeah, well,
we're looking a little dire over here in New England, but
wow.
So I mean, I was looking at a list of total starters for each team to opt out,
Yeah.
and the Patriots had 5 total starters opt out, and I don't think there was a single other team that had more than 2 starters in the
Right.
league opt out. So,
Right.
you know, I will say this about the Patriots: it's a little concerning. Obviously, we already lost Tom Brady. We don't have Dante Hightower anymore. Patrick Chung is gone. Marcus Cannon is gone off the offensive line.
Yep.
One thing people aren't talking about is Dante Scarnecchia, offensive line coach, retired. Last time he retired, the year after he left, the offensive line imploded, and they were horrible. So that's a little concerning. But I trust Bill Belichick.
I was just going to say, so what's the prediction for this year? Are they still making the playoffs?
I think they still make the playoffs. And here's the thing. All throughout the league, you're still going to have injuries. You're still going to have – this is in a year of adversity for every single team, what coach do you trust? I trust Bill Belichick to find a way to bring his guys together, honestly. I mean, every team has opt-outs. Well, not every team, but close to every team is dealing with this same type of adversity.
Right.
So, and Belichick has found a way in the past to throw in, like you mentioned earlier in this show, random guys to make it work.
Yeah.
Just, you know,
He does.
and we
He
have
does.
guys coming up
He's-
who were rookies last year who are going to make a bigger impact this year.
Yeah.
I think they're still going to be
Yeah.
the Patriots.
You still got to watch out for the Patriots. I don't care who you are. As long as that man is coaching that team, they're just dangerous.
Exactly.
I mean, they're just dangerous. The one thing I'll say about opt-outs, I'm going to say 2 things, and then, John, I'm going to hand it over to you. Number 1, the Chiefs had a rookie opt out.
Are you guys getting a weird sound?
Yeah, is there somebody talking in the background?
God damn it. So I opened a web page. Man, I hate this. I opened a web page, which happens to be – go the fuck away. This is awesome. I got sorry, guys. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
That's
And I
okay.
had it open. I'm on NFL.com and the opt-out list, and I just clicked on the tab, and all of a sudden it starts playing. I'm like, oh, gee, because you guys went totally silent. I'm like,
I couldn't
for
actually.
the ad.
I didn't.
Hey, by
actually notice it.
by the way, everybody out there, we're now advertising. We're trying to collect revenue, so I was.
Are we?
pointing at it.
Oh,
No.
why am I not sharing in this revenue?
Yeah, no
we
shit.
got none because we had 2 viewers or 3 on the last episode, and until that changes, there's no money.
Oh, wow. We have to get at least to 6.
Right.
All right. So what I was saying,
And-
there was a rookie, Marcus Niang,
Yep.
offensive line, the Chiefs. If you're a rookie and you're not high risk, you need to play because you're behind the 8 ball. And it's hard enough to earn a position as a rookie unless you're a guy coming out of the 1st round. But when you're a guy coming out of the 5th round, good luck. Good luck ever coming back from that. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is the one team that I will pick in this whole opt-out mess that I think is going to be hurt the most only had one guy opt out, and that would be the Green Bay Packers and Devin Funchess. They don't have receivers, and he was their other guy they just picked up, and now he opted out. I'm telling you guys, the Packers are in trouble. Aaron Rodgers, they get this guy. They expect something out of him. Hey, take some pressure off of Devontae Adams, and now he opts out. That's bad news for the Green Bay Packers, and they haven't found anybody to replace him. Now, I will say with the Chiefs, Larry, the other offensive guard, they picked up Osemele to take his place. So that I'm feeling really good about that. Damian Williams, who cares? We got the rookie. The guy's a stud. I mean, I think we're going to be just fine there. But that's my one team I really think, even just having one opt-out, it just hurts.
Okay, that's fair enough. I got another team with a one opt out too. That's gonna hurt. And
Okay,
that's,
go ahead. Because mine has more than one, and I have to.
I don't know if it's more.
kinda
Well,
look.
the one opt out that is very very notable. I don't want to be stealing your guy here, but C.J. Mosley, New York Jets.
No.
I mean, he
plays for the Jets.
Here's the thing: they lost Jamal Adams though too. They just
Yeah,
traded Jamal Adams.
I know, but he
That's-
plays for the Jets. They're just bad anyway.
I know,
Like,
but
I mean,
that's
Guess
that,
what
if you want to look
podcast
at
has
you want to
no
look at a
Jets fans?
2-win team. You want to look at a 2-win team. Look at the New York Jets.
no, right. They went from a 3-win team to a 2-win
Two-win
team.
team.
I mean,
Exactly.
really, is it really gonna? I mean, listen, I think Devin Funchess could that literally could keep them from getting to the playoffs. I mean,
Right.
I think that's C.J. Mosley. Yes, he's a great player, but he plays on such a shitty team.
But it gives the Patriots 2 guaranteed wins.
Yeah, well, it might. Yeah, there you go.
So you got to look at it from my AFC East perspective over here.
Yeah, no, I like it. John, Big Bad 77.
Big Bad John.
Who you got?
What do you got?
So actually, I had to look because I really hadn't made up my mind. I like the Chiefs, but I thought maybe you'd go there. I agree. I don't think it's going to kill them, the Chiefs. I'm just bummed because I want them to be as good as possible, and I think losing those 2 guys was notable. I also agree that I think our running back situation is good, but again, think about injuries or just giving a guy a breather. Damian Williams as an extra back was nice.
Yeah.
And I totally respect Laurent Duvernay, or however you say his last name, in that fact he's opting out, Cardiff, and that the fact that he's – I know what he's doing. Everybody
He's a
knows
first
what he's doing.
responder,
He's
yeah.
fighting in the first lines. So
Right.
he's probably doing it for the right reason anyway.
Correct.
But I still am bummed because it's like I want them to be the best possible, but I don't think it's a huge impact. You know the team, I think it's a huge impact, but again, it's kind of like talking about the Jets.
Oh, here we go.
Cleveland Browns, because they don't even – they lost like an entire line. They're not necessarily all starters, but an entire line worth of linemen are gone.
That's
Yeah.
huge. Those
And
depth
they're
linemen are
shitty.
important.
That's
Right.
big.
They're
2 were
very
starters,
important.
I believe.
Right. They're
Right?
They lost a guard, a tackle.
Right. And I think
they
2
lost
of
a
them
defensive
starters.
tackle. Yeah. It's like, come on, guys. You in a team that's still younger players. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying they're going to be better this year.
I know you were, and I don't think they're going to be now because I think you're already struggling, and now you just lost some key players, and
I
you
guess
a
that
younger
Nick-
quarterback.
I guess that Nick Chubb pick was pretty damn good now, wasn't it, boys?
Well, you also picked what's his face.
Well, I picked OBJ, but Nick Chubb, how do you run with a line?
No. But you were
You like Kareem Hunt as a
right.
sleeper.
That's it. You were
Neither of
liking
them are any
Kareem
good
Hunt,
now.
And that was my point. That's where I was going.
I didn't like either of them for fantasy, though.
No, Kareem Hunt's not going to probably have a great season either.
No.
Nor is Nick Chubb.
Right.
Unless they make a good fill-in, it could happen.
Right.
But
It's
I think other than the Patriots, because they were the team I would pick, I would be like,
Yeah.
any of
And
those-
they're the obvious pick.
The obvious pick, yeah.
but they were going to Evan because it's Evan's team and he deserved to pick them. But then I really took a look and I'm like, there's some other notable names, but it's usually like one name on a team, maybe that matters.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a wide receiver, and Joe made a good point, but it's like other than that, you'll figure out a way. But when you lose so many players and they're all on your line, and that's a tough place to replace. I mean, you remember the Chiefs game last season where we lost? We were down to our last lineman. We had no more backups because we were having injuries. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, we're in trouble. Luckily, they survived the game and won, but they were, and then you're like, what happens after that game? These guys better start getting back into it.
Right.
This is just such a critical, underappreciated position, and Cleveland's going to hurt.
Yeah. There's no doubt.
Not that I care about
I think every team.
because I don't.
I think every team is going to be because on top of this, you're going to have the regular injuries that take place during the season, anyways.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's going to be a war of attrition in the long run for this season.
They'll backfill. They'll go find other guys because they opted out. They got some,
Well, then how does that affect
people
the
on the
quality of the play? We'll see.
No, that's my point.
goes on.
They're going to get guys, but they're not going to be the same quality. So,
Right.
yeah, they're in trouble.
I think there's going to be some serious struggling on the offensive lines. I think the Ravens lost a lineman too, who was
Several teams lost.
a lot of
most-
teams lost linemen.
I think it was either tied or the most position was offensive line, and the other experts, and they're likely in reality experts. It makes sense. These guys' faces are right in front of each other, right? They're right
High
in
risk
each other's
position.
face. It's a very high risk position.
Yeah.
So,
Well, guys,
it makes
I
sense.
want you to think about this, and Evan, you'll appreciate this because we're going back to the AFC East. What about EJ Gaines and Star Ladatule?
Yeah,
The
the
defensive
Bills.
tackle and the cornerback. Yeah, those are huge hits, man.
Exactly.
Especially on that defensive line. That's big time. And it's like, oh.
And that's the strong point of Buffalo, right? Everyone talks about their defense, how stellar
right.
it is. And when you sort of throw in that adversity to their defense,
you
are they
lose
going
those
to
two
be able to
guys.
are they going to be able to recover from that, like say how the Patriots recover from adversity in the past? Can the Bills kind of do the same thing and just have fill-ins, quote unquote,
hey,
play
and
to that same level?
I will say the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, lost their starting offensive tackle, and I believe he plays the left side.
Oh boy!
So
there goes my MVP pick.
You might check that. I think he plays on the left side. He might be on the right, but it's Marcus Gilbert. Yeah, that's a big hit.
Right. Here's a couple others that for a pick Joe liked. Again, not the biggest names, but definitely a name you know. So the Dolphins losing 2 wide receivers.
Yes.
With a freshly drafted quarterback. Alan
Wilson.
Hearns, which I definitely know the name. And Albert Wilson, I don't know as well, but I definitely
know
heard
both
it.
of them.
He was a Chief.
That's why I know the name.
Albert Wilson, yeah.
Right. Not a prime player, but definitely 2 wide receivers.
Good.
And
2 guys who would both make the roster.
Right.
Yeah,
of
course.
And you would hope for, if you're going to start, God damn it.
Tua.
Thank you. It's the whiskey, guys.
Wow, he's really bad, man. I'm telling you, that's some shitty whiskey.
Yeah. If you're going to start Tua, and now, I mean, you don't get any chemistry. But not only that, but now you got guys that probably, you're replacing with guys that didn't even play for the Dolphins.
Right.
Yeah, you're in trouble, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
No preseason too, so.
Yeah, that hurts.
It's going to be an interesting wild ride this season. We're going
to have a lot of fun doing it.
We get Harry to talk about betting, and not only will he say, "Hell, don't in general, don't bet on NFL." Be like, "You're fucking committing suicide." Like,
just don't.
You have no idea what to expect week to week. This is going to be
I think week one. I think the first couple weeks might be a little sloppy, but we'll see. I think we'll see who is going to be contenders within the first few weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly,
I want to talk about is lead in for the Chiefs versus the Texans, because that's going to be that one I look forward to. I think it's going to be easy to talk about.
That's going to be one hell of a game.
Texans are getting slapped. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I think they're going to get destroyed. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Bill O'Brien deserves to get smacked in the face. I'm sorry, he doesn't deserve his.
I don't want anything to fuck that game up, because I want to see that one happen. The first game of the season.
Take the over.
It should be an ass kicking.
Take the over.
Proportion. Yeah.
Mahomes will put up points.
But the other
points.
No, but maybe not actually. I think Deshaun's going to struggle, and I think the Chiefs' defense is good enough that
they're going to.
I'm sorry. Deshaun Watson will light up your secondary.
hey, I don't know. I don't know, Baltimore and this guy they have that's a quarterback.
Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
It's funny you say that, because I absolutely agree with that. Most people would tell us we're crazy, but he's the better quarterback. He just is.
He's a better
Lamar Jackson is an athlete. That son of a bitch can just go. I mean,
when it comes to quarterback,
I agree with you guys.
Yeah,
I agree with you guys.
Wow, we're all on board with that? I thought that was a hot take, and we're all on board with it.
No, one of the issues it ain't that hard. Struggled with is when they're playing the pass and the guy runs, the Chiefs really struggled with that.
Yeah.
They really did. And so I think because Deshaun's going to try to pass a little bit more, that's going to play into the Chiefs.
I think what's going to happen is they might get up 24-0, but then we're going to beat them by 56 points. We'll score in the
second half of the third quarter and all of the fourth quarter. We're going to just light them up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, nah, that's okay. Let them feel good about themselves.
What could be shocking? I know we're way early on this and we're talking longer.
Tell me.
With the new running back, the Chiefs might decide they're going to set the tone early and run the shit out of people, and then light the fuckers up with a pass. It might just work. It might just work, actually.
I totally expect that, actually. Or they're going to pass it to him out of the backfield.
I was going to say, throw some screens to him.
Hell yeah. Get in the open field and just go.
I can see a bit more pounding. They did more last year where they were running Damian more than, it's like we talked about this. Mahomes would get him up to the 3-yard line and then we'd run the ball in. We're where's the thank you for getting all the way, to the receivers, tight ends, running backs out of the backfield, and the quarterback by then running the ball at the very end? It's like, come on. But it worked. It sure as a shit worked. So
Yeah, for sure.
except for, what was it, the Super Bowl the game before when fucking Kelsey was catching 2 or 3 touchdowns from like 2 yards away.
Right.
That was so awesome.
Yes, that was awesome. All right, boys. Did we cover everything we were wanting to cover?
I think that more. I think we covered.
We did. We got a little bit into the school topic. We didn't really plan on that, but I think it was a good topic.
We could cut that out and just publish it as like a public service announcement.
We could.
Then,
We certainly could.
Hey, hi.
I think it flowed.
I'm
I think
John
it flowed in
Liddell
well.
with the Pigskin Pricks, and I'd like to talk to you about COVID-19.
That's right.